Hello everybody, my name is Lily, and today I want to answer the question, is the Shed Aquarium worth your money? The Shed Aquarium, which is in Chicago, Illinois, was, I believe, founded in, the 1920s, 1924. The rules are simple. As I am there, I'll be ranking it on 5 different categories. Quality, how well the place is put together. Engagement, how well do I feel engaged in the experience? Education, do I feel I've learned? After all, this is in fact a nonprofit help out with ocean conservation. Is the variety good? Am I seeing a nice variety of creatures, or is it just a one-stop show? And finally, price, time, value. For how much I've paid, was it worth the amount of time I got to spend there? With that being said, I will see all of you guys at the Shed Aquarium. Alright, I am back. It is about 8 o'clock now, p.m. I left the house at about 8 a.m. I was not at the shed the entire time. I was out with my family today. But I will preface this all by saying I did have a really fun time at the Shed Aquarium. It did not disappoint, though I did not expect it to. Let's go ahead and get into the rankings. Let's talk about quality. Now, on a scale of 1 through 5, I gave the Shed Aquarium a rating of 5 stars. And honestly, it just cannot be beat. Out of all of the main, museums or attractions within the Chicago area in that little section, that being the Shed, MSI, the Planetarium, and the Field Museum, Shed has always been my personal favorite. I think their quality is unmatched. Honestly, I think almost all of them have a 5-star for me, but the Shed Aquarium is just, it's the best. It is such an incredibly clean facility, for one thing. It has such a modern design to it, especially the area that goes downwards. So you can see the beluga whales and the dolphins. It is such this beautiful fake wood paneling, and overall just the design of each area has always felt so incredibly unique to me. And just well done, Shed Aquarium. You've outdone yourself once again. It looks amazing. It looks great there. And on top of that, Shed Aquarium is really easy to navigate, which is not something I can say for all of the different places. The Shed Aquarium, while it can look kind of weird at first, especially with all the ups and all the downs, once you look at a map, you kind of realize where you're going. When you first enter, there's only one place to enter now. You can either go and do bag check, or you just go right up, and boom, you're there. You see some stuff. I believe there's around 4 sections of the main middle area. You go through there. There's left, forward, and right. You can see all that stuff. There's a section to the right where you can go down into the wild reef. And then over to the left, you can go through a whole hallway, go down some stairs. That's how you get to that great area with the penguins. That's where you can see the beluga whales and the dolphins. Once again, super duper easy to navigate, even if you've never been there before. Next, let's talk about engagement. I do have to give engagement a 4. It was not perfect. There is, of course, so much to do at the Shed Aquarium other than looking and reading about all the different types of fish. There's a whole bunch of different touch tanks. For example, right now you can touch, I forget the fish, but you can touch one of the fishes, as well as you can touch the starfish like always. But please remember, though, that when you go, be gentle and tell your kids to be gentle, and it's always 2 touch. I cannot specify that enough. It's always 2 touch with every single touch tank. You need to be gentle with these animals, especially the starfish. Do not touch their undersides. It is bad. The people don't always say it there, and I don't really have a place to really give them flack for it, but please never touch the underside of any of the animals and never force anything. You can injure the animal or yourself. Now, the reason why I have to give it a 4, though, is because of the beluga whale area. They do events there throughout the day, and they're always just the worst. I mean, everything is good, so the worst can't be that bad. But the issue is, I don't know why specifically, but that area, you can never understand the person. The one we went to was meant to be a talk about the beluga whales. You could ask questions, and nobody was asking questions because nobody could hear this woman. A part of that, she had a mask on, so she had to put the mic up directly into her mask. But on top of that, that room is just very cavernous. So on top of the already muffled sounds from the mask, also this really cavernous room, and then just everybody's kind of just watching these beluga whales just do like kind of some tricks. But that's it, and we can't have a conversation with her because nobody can hear her. So I have to give him flack for that, guys. I understand that woman wants to wear a mask. That's her prerogative. But at the same time, though, none of us can hear it, and it's making the experience less enjoyable. Okay, there has to be a solution somewhere, because I don't know why, but every single time I go, that area just never matches up to quality, mainly because of the bad mic situation. Let's talk about education. Now, how I'm doing, I have a bunch of different templates for going out and ranking these places, because essentially why I do these rankings this way is my way of being able to compare apples to oranges. Because obviously it's kind of hard to rank a restaurant to an aquarium, but I can say how good is it as what it is. And I can say, well, this aquarium does really good at its job as an aquarium. Well, this restaurant doesn't really come up to par in some way. So that is why I have these rankings differently. And specifically paid locations, I have 2 different free spaces essentially, because every single one has quality, engagement, and price time value. So the 2 I have for the Shed Aquarium specifically is education and variety. Because at the end of the day, it's a nonprofit meant to help out with the ocean cleanup and in general just sea life, which means they need to educate people. And I gave them a 4 on that, because they do really well at that, especially if you talk to somebody. Everybody's really knowledgeable there. There's plenty to read. You're never at a loss. But it's also kind of why I had to give it a 4, is because as an autistic person who can get kind of overwhelmed by all the amazing information coming in all at once, like every single place in Chicago, sadly, except I think MSI, it's just a little bit too much at times. There's a lot of just like walls of text everywhere, and I really want to learn, but sometimes it can be hard when I'm being bombarded with all of these different walls of text. And I'm a bad skimmer, so it's just too much at once. It feels like I'm trying to read a whole bunch of different things. I get it, there's a lot to talk about with these animals, but I do wish sometimes we could have it condensed in some way, or just a little bit easier to read and find. My favorite thing that they've implemented in years past is at a majority of the little exhibits, there's a little like iPad set up where you can tap on an animal and see everything about them. I love that. It is easy. You don't have everything up at once. Love that. I also love when they have the videos available and all the different activities. But that's why I kind of had to give it a 4. Next up, let's talk about variety. This one is quite simple. How much is there to see? The answer is a lot. I ended up giving it a 5. There are so many different areas to check out that I absolutely love. Just to name a few, we have the Wild Reef, we have the Great Lake section, and the Underground Play Area, which was my favorite as a kid. The Underground Play Area has this cool submarine and this cool Be a Penguin area. That is where you'll see the penguins, and the penguins are always an absolute riot to look at. They are such cute little creatures, and I really love their little area. It's nice and big. We'll be able to get into kind of how I feel ethically about this place. I do am kind of a little bit iffy in some places and uniffy in others. But overall, though, they have so much to see. You will not be bored. I will say, though, if your kids are currently attention seeking within their iPads, if you have an iPad kid, they're not going to like the shed. You have to be actively invested in the shed and in a lot of places in order to enjoy it. And sadly, I don't think this can beat TikTok or short form content. Finally, let's talk about the price time value. This I kind of have a rough number for, based off of the max you're going to pay for a single person and the least amount of time you're probably going to spend. Because the highest possible price you can pay per person at Shed Aquarium is $35 for an adult that's not in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, it's $20, and everything just gets cheaper from there. And on average, you're probably going to spend around 2 to 4 hours, depending on how really in-depth you want to look at everything. I was only there for 2. If it was just myself, I probably would have been there for 4 hours. I love to take my time, but sadly I was with my family, and my family kind of does a rush job. But either way, even if you do pay the highest price, and you're only there for that minimum of like 2 hours, you're still paying $17.50 an hour on the high end. And of course, thankfully, if you're in Chicago, if you're an Illinois resident, there is Illinois resident free days. So no matter what, this place is worth the money. I had to give it a 5. No matter what, I would pay $20 just for an hour here. It is such a great place to be, not to mention all the extras that you can add in. Let's talk about that, because I am mostly talking about the free experience, or not the free experience, but the what you pay for admission experience. There's a whole bunch of extras. Specifically, I got to see the 4D movies. I have seen all 3 in the past. They currently have sharks, octopus, and penguins. Today, I just saw sharks again, and of course, it is so much fun to do. It is only $5 a person, which is a steal. I believe it is about a 10-minute show, and it is a lot of fun. It is a little documentary with little effects at you. It is fantastic. The only thing I would recommend is if you have really little kids, they might get scared. Parts of it can be kind of scary, as well as a couple of movies, if not all of them, have at least one part. There is a little piece of plastic under the chair that will hit your legs, and it will scare you, and your kids may not enjoy that. But if they're, I'd say, older or at least 7, they're probably gonna like this. They're all really nice to see and really all educational in a way it's really easy to digest. My favorite is the sharks one. I think it is so cool to see all the cool sharks in little docuseries, but I would have to say octopus is probably a close second, followed by penguins. I love the penguins, but they're not just nearly as interesting as sharks and octopuses in my mind. Those two creatures have just so much to them. So that's one thing. They also have a VR experience, which I have not tried at all yet. I believe that's pretty cool, as well as they have special experiences that you can pay for. These are overly expensive, though. I would not say overly expensive. I've never done them. They tend to be around $80 a person, I believe, or somewhere between that range, 80 and 100, I believe. And the main one I think off the top of my head is the penguin experience, where you get to go meet the penguins. It's so cool, and they have a couple of these where you get to just go meet the animal. I don't have a lot of knowledge on these. I have not paid for these, but from what I've heard, these are also a ton of fun. So there is good add-ons if you want to go. This is not the kind of place where the add-ons are not really that cool. Everything at this place is cool. Everything is worth the money. Go if you're visiting Chicago. If you're already in Chicago and just looking for something to redo once in a while, the Shedd Aquarium is it. I'm not really a person who really likes to buy like those yearly passes. The Shedd Aquarium is probably the only exception. They don't do a lot of events like other ones do. Like, I think the Field Museum definitely kind of beats the Shedd Aquarium in terms of that. The Field Museum always has those fun seasonal events going on that I absolutely love. But the Shedd Aquarium, for what it is incredible. Finally, let's talk our totals. We have an average score across the entire scoreboard of a 4.6, making this an excellent place to go, and an overall score of 23 out of 25, near perfect, which is excellent for my very first video on a real location. Thankfully, I chose a really good place. This just so happened to fall into my lap, and I am really glad I went. Shedd Aquarium's always a ton of fun. Do I think the Shedd Aquarium is worth your money? I think it is. I think whether or not you are a Chicago resident, an Illinois resident, or a non-Illinois resident, this place is worth your money. It is worth your time. It is worth the looking. And most importantly, the conservation efforts are just as important. I am a big person about conservation. I use reusable water bottles. I use my best to avoid plastic. I like to sew things. I like to thrift everything. And ocean conservation is really important. So while you are there, and if you have kids, please actually take the time to educate your children and yourself on the conservation efforts that the Shedd Aquarium makes. They do a lot of awesome stuff. I don't always like a lot of the exhibits. I feel some of them are too small for the animals, specifically the beluga whales. I think them and the dolphins don't have enough room or even really anything down there. It's kind of just this empty abyss, and I'm not a big person on animals, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way. There's so many exhibits that they have that are really good. The penguin one is kind of perfect for them. The penguins are all together. The penguins are very social animals, so you can just tell they're kind of having a good time doing their own thing. But their conservation efforts are really important. And that's kind of the big thing about the Shedd Aquarium, is that they want you to get involved with your community. So this is my PSA right now, to please get involved. We need the oceans. We need water. It is one of our most fickle resources. It is so important that we conserve now. Keep the plastic out of the oceans. Go to the Shedd Aquarium. It's a lot of fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. I had a great time making this. I hope you guys will go, and I hope you guys will have a fun time, whether or not you're a veteran to the place or if it is your first time. I will see you all next time. Have a good day. Bye!